Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the streaming on the website. All right, we're live. Hey, and welcome to Just Another effing podcast. I am your host, the lyrical rhyme animal, the JFB, James from Boston.
And you might know me as the enlightened one. You might know me as the godfather of effing wrestling. I'm Canada Dry, damn it.
Canada Dry. I love it.
And my drink today
is Canada Dry.
Canada Dry here. I tweeted them earlier this week. Hey, how about sponsoring our podcast?
And they
said,
and
I'm wearing the Select Your Host shirt. You see the JFB there, and
I do.
How it called.
Nice. Mine is still in process of being sent to us.
So you wear it next episode, and hopefully I'll get to wear my AFW.
I might be doing remote. I might be remote. I might be in Knoxville, so I might be doing it remotely.
Live from Knoxville, Tennessee.
All right, so let's get to some news really quickly. Of course, congratulations for a lot of people. Very slow news week, but Christian Cage is now the new Impact and TNA World Heavyweight Champion, beating the belt collector Kenny Omega. So congratulations. He is now again Impact champ. This has been a few times that he's won this belt.
Yeah, just like, wow. Congratulations to Christian Cage, but congratulations to AEW for putting on the best 1 hour of television, wrestling television, I don't know, in the history of wrestling.
Yeah, probably. I mean, Rampage premiered this Friday for 1 hour. The main event was, of course, Britt Baker retaining the AEW Women's Championship, but Kenny Omega lost the belt on Rampage. What a great way to kick off your show in Pittsburgh, then have Kenny Omega drop it.
I think the only reason they did that first was because they wanted to have a great lengthy match and they didn't want to worry about TV time. I think that's the only reason that they didn't main event that one.
Yeah, absolutely. It could have gone either way. They could have opened. I think with it being in Pittsburgh, it was smart to obviously close it with Britt because she is from Pittsburgh. But yeah, Christian Cage is now officially the TNA in Impact Zone heavyweight champion.
And quite honestly, I think Kenny Omega is relieved to not haul those many belts around. It's like, what a pain in the ass that would be. To be hauling
one on each arm and then one strapped to his chest and then one around his waist.
Like the responsibility is actually quite huge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And speaking of Britt Baker, she has a new muscle, if you will, a new enforcer. Jamie Hayter has come back to
not Jimmy Hayter. That's her brother.
She was it was good to see her back because the last time we saw her was in Pittsburgh before COVID hit, and obviously with travel restrictions and all that other rigmarole, but she lost a lot of weight. She changed her hair color. I mean, I didn't recognize who it was until after the show. I went to look back at it and was like, holy crap, it's Jamie Hayter. So
I'm not a fan of the blonde hair on Jamie Hayter. I liked her with the brown or the red hair. Like I thought that looked great. But
yeah. Yeah, but she is back and she is officially all elite, and so is Fuego del Sol, despite losing to God's favorite champion, Miro. He actually got a contract from Sammy Guevara, his best friend. If you watch any of Sammy's if you watch any of his video blogs, he has Fuego del Sol on there. So he got a contract. He is officially all elite.
That was such a cool moment. And I like that the little bit of Tony Khan just coming out.
Yeah.
So they know it's official. I don't know what he said. He probably said like in the movie industry, rhubarb. I don't know if he actually said anything to him.
Yeah.
But it's just official to know that this is not some joke. Tony Khan came out, handed him the contract to give to his best friend.
Absolutely. It was awesome. It was incredible. Kenny Omega, Triple Mania, That is AAA's big, huge show in the Aztec Stadium. Kenny Omega retains the AAA Heavyweight Championship, beat Andrade. Now, Omega had Conan in his corner. Andrade had his future father-in-law, Ric Flair, came and played in the AAA arena. My favorite bump of that match was the chops between Andrade and Ric Flair on Kenny Omega. It was awesome. It was in fuego.
And wow, Triple A is on another level. Just I really wish that we were able to see more AAA events here in North America, in Canada, and the United States. It's such a great promotion.
It is a great promotion, and it was AAA and Triple Mania is their big show. That's the big show. That's their WrestleMania, and it was good to see it being it was streaming on YouTube. Yeah, you're right. I wish that Univision or any of the other Latin stations would carry it because wrestling fans are wrestling fans. I may not understand what they're saying, but I'm sure as hell gonna watch it. So at Resurgence, New Japan Pro Wrestling's pay-per-view Resurgence, which was in the LA Coliseum, Tanahashi, the ace, if you will, the 1 out of 1,000,000 of New Japan Pro Wrestling, beat Lance Archer. He is now officially the IWGP US champion, which now I think seals the deal because Mox has been saying for a while he wants to fight Tanahashi. I think we might see this, maybe not at All Out, but I think we're going to see it sooner than later.
Oh, come on. Give Lance Archer a break. Let him hold the title for more than 2 weeks. Come on.
I agree.
Lance Archer can't, I was so happy for him when he won that belt.
Yeah.
Because he's finally getting a little bit of cred. And then.
Yeah. Well, speaking of New Japan, special appearance was made by Will Ospreay. That is right. The flying New Zealander is medically cleared. He showed up with his version of the IWGP World Heavyweight title. Says, I never got pinned, and I'm not fighting in Japan until Japan recognizes me as the true champion. So you have Takahashi, who is the official, according to New Japan Pro Wrestling, he is the IWGP Heavyweight champion.
So does he have the old belt or the new belt? Who's got
both of the new belts? Yeah,
they both have the Cody Rhodes belt.
Yeah.
So hopefully he'll be able to get the old belt back.
I don't know, but it'll be interesting because that forbidden door is coming. It's wide open, and he says, "I'll defend this belt that I hold anywhere in the world except for Japan until Japan recognizes me as the true champion."
And didn't God confront the Good Brothers?
They did. God confronted the Good Brothers, the Gorillas of Destiny, Tama Tonga and Tongaloa showed up, and so we might see them.
That's part of that forbidden door.
Yeah, we might see them on Impact. We might see them in AEW. There's that speculation that those working relationships, everything's going to kind of mesh together.
So you got the NWA, you got AEW, you got New Japan, and you got Impact
and AAA.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Ring of Honor? Get in on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why not?
Yeah. Ring of Honor, I think, eventually will come into the fold.
I think they're not. I think they're bitter or something. I don't know.
Yeah. They just might not have the financial ability to do it. I know Sinclair owns them, and Sinclair is richer than they're like Donald Duck's Uncle Scrooge. that Sinclair swims in banks of money. So hopefully,
does he have Tony Khan money? I mean, no, sorry, Tony Khan's dad's money.
Yeah,
he's that rich.
Yeah, he's Sinclair has got that kind of cash,
but he's not willing to invest that money in the wrestling company, though.
Yeah, not yet. They just broadcast. They got broadcasting rights. I'm sure it has to do with broadcasting rights more than anything else at this point. Shinsuke Nakamura, to close up our news, Shinsuke Nakamura is now a two-time Intercontinental Champion. He beat Apollo Crews on SmackDown, which actually had its best ratings in a long time. Over 2 million people watched SmackDown. It was good to see Shinsuke, King Shinsuke Nakamura win the coveted IC title. And there's a picture floating around with him holding the old one, the white one, and the brand new one, the redesigned IC belt. So maybe he might bring the IC, the old IC belt design back. I hope so.
Well, that IC belt was like that for so long since the early 80s. So it's hard not to like.
That's history in that belt. I mean,
that belt, like looking like that is the most unchanged belt in wrestling for so long.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's get into our main event, if you will.
The main news is I got a haircut, JFB.
Yes, Jake.
We are the bald bastards.
Canada Dry surprising everybody with the bald look. Did you lose a hair match?
So what happened was I was gonna cut my hair. I cut my own hair, and so I was just like, I was feeling lazy, and it was hot out, so I'm like, fuck it. And then I was like, what did I just do? But you know what? I'm getting used to it. It'll be back before you know it. I grow really fast, so we can be the bald bastard for a little bit.
Yeah, it's that damn Canadian public water is so delicious, and we can't bottle it and send it to America, so we can cure all the baldness in America and the United States with Canadian municipal water.
Actually, Nestle, they actually bottle our water up at a rapid rate and don't pay the proper amount. Like it's insane, the corruption that's going on.
Really? Nestle?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a whole different subject. We should
another podcast.
We should do a whole show on that.
Yeah, it's a whole raping of Mother Nature sort of podcast.
We can talk. Yeah, we'll incorporate with Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
So our main event, if you will, every podcast, wrestling podcast, every person on the internet wrestling community talks about either a top 5 or their Mount Rushmore of their favorite wrestlers. And they do it non-audium. They just keep doing it over and over and over again. We here at Just Another Different Podcast, let's just say we do things a tiny, tiny bit different. We decided to do our anti-Mount Rushmore 5 wrestlers this time that we just don't like.
Our shit list, if you will.
That's shit list. So there was a coin flip backstage. Canada Dry, you won the coin flip again. I don't know. It's a rigged coin, I think. Must be. It was a loony, so I'm not used to flipping the loonies. So who is your number 5 on wrestlers you don't like?
I'm going to go with Randy Orton.
Wow. Do tell.
So he was front and center a couple of years ago on All Lives Matter.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't back down. He would fight with people on Twitter about this.
Yep.
And I even made a case to him. I was tweeting him. I was a troll to him. But it's more than that. He just has this attitude that it just looks like he's better than you. And I also didn't like the way he used AEW to get more money out of WWE.
Oh, really?
And then after the fact, he starts talking shit against Tony Khan on Twitter after he used them.
Yeah.
Like they're having this word like, are you kidding me? You just used this company to get yourself more money and now you're talking shit to the guy? Yeah. It's not smart.
No. I don't know if I would put him on my list. I mean, he's
number 5 because
he's a 3rd generation wrestler. I mean, we're talking the Orton family goes way back. Back in the day, I don't know if I put him on the list.
Let me say this, because I don't want to be all negative. He has all the talent of the world.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But he's lazy.
Yeah, and arrogant.
He's not going 100 all the time.
Yeah.
Like you can see when he's really get going, his character and everything, he's one of the best in the world. But then all of a sudden, like he's just going through the motions a lot of the time, and you can see it.
Well, my number 5, I would compare him to a cardboard cutout. Mine is the narcissist Lex Luger. If there ever was a wrestler I could not stand, it was Lex Luger. He would just stand there with like his arms crossed or on his hips with this stupid grin smile on his face. It used to drive me absolutely bonkers. I mean, he couldn't cut a promo. He was stale in the ring. I mean, he would just he was like you said with Randy Orton. He just kind of went through the motions. Pro wrestling and making a name for himself was not his end game. He was a professional football player before he became a wrestler. He just never connected with me. Anytime I saw him on the TV, I'd switch it up, my favorite memory of him was him walking out on the first Nitro and just standing there watching Hogan with his hands on his hip and a smile. And he's going, no other emotion other than that stupid, goofy smile. He had a long run with drugs, very well publicized drug problem, which eventually led to Miss Elizabeth. Him and Elizabeth were together when Elizabeth passed away from a drug overdose. And a lot of people have attributed to being with Lex Luger. Not to end on a negative note, he is a born-again Christian. He does go around the country and talks about his story and how he found Christ. So for that, that's a good thing. But yeah, number 5.
Yeah, like I can imagine how hard that would be.
Yeah.
Your drug addiction killed someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she passed way too soon, and there's a lot of people in both behind the scenes and, fans that don't like him because of what he did to Miss Elizabeth, because she was so well loved. She was cherished, but that was my number 5. Who is your number 4?
My number 4 is Ric Flair.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if this is an American thing, but I don't think Ric Flair is that great of a wrestler.
Oh, man.
The most overrated wrestler in the history of wrestling. Like his flops on the ropes, the way he does, come on, you're selling like a cartoon character.
Yeah.
Like that flip on the rope, not very good at all.
But that's so classic when he flips over the ropes and then comes with a clothes hanger.
My main issue with Ric Flair is his shit talk against Bret Hart.
Yeah.
And Bret Hart was leading the company when they were really having a hard time competing with WCW and the NWO and all that. And he was saying that Bret Hart isn't a great wrestler or a great draw or anything like that. And I take that personal. So I know they've made up and everything like that, and they've kind of buried the hatchet, but us wrestling fans have long memories. And I was watching the Off the Record episode. The TSN episode where Ric Flair was just trashing Bret Hart.
Yeah.
And that's in Bret Hart's own country that showing this video.
Yeah. So. That's not the smartest thing. I mean, I got to disagree with you on that one only because I feel Ric Flair is he's on my Mount Rushmore of, his promos were on point. Yeah, he maybe oversold stuff, especially in his later years, where he would just flop on the mat like a fish out of water. But he was he's a great ambassador for professional wrestling.
And like the guy couldn't manage his money to save his life. Like
That's true.
he was that kid who was given $20 for his allowance and spent it all on candy on the first day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that man was not financially sound at all, period, which makes it kind of sad when he's in his later years and he really doesn't have that earning potential that, say, somebody like The Rock or John Cena, who can go into movies. Ric Flair's kind of in his later years. So,
and the other thing I didn't like is that he kind of he stopped a lot of runs that could have really gone. Like Ricky Steamboat should have held that belt a lot longer.
Absolutely.
Like give Steamboat a bit of a run as champion. Don't take it away right away. Like I like the battles, but come on, give Steamboat a bit of a run. Let him have other competitors.
Yeah.
So with the Ric Flair show, I just don't like him.
I get where you're coming from. I don't agree with it, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
My number 4 is Muhammad. Muhammad Hassan. That is probably one of the biggest what ifs in professional wrestling. What if he was able to use his so-called terrorist character with the London bombings not happening? Who knows where he could have gone? But the guy behind the character, his name is Mark Kapani, was hated probably as much by the boys in the back than he was in the ring by the fans. The guy blew up instantly on Raw when he premiered on Raw in 2004. Vince put a rocket on his back, which, if you're getting that kind of heat, put a rocket on him. Let's see how far he can go. But he lacked respect and decorum, and that led to a lot of veterans disliking him. The one story that sticks out in my mind was the story with him and Eddie Guerrero, where he told Eddie Guerrero, stop using the camel clutch. That's my finishing move, not yours. Eddie turned around and said to him, my father, Gory Guerrero, actually invented that move and then berated him for like 30 minutes. It was that lack of history and understanding and that arrogance that I think eventually led to me not liking him at all. I didn't like his character. I don't like it when they take cultures and they create these, he's from the Middle East. He's got to be a terrorist, And
you're booing him because he's Middle East. He's got that just was very distasteful to.
Yeah,
being an Iranian, right? It's racist.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just was never a huge fan of. I just wasn't a huge fan of his. I didn't think his wrestling
was Vince's fault.
Yeah, Vince. When you get nuclear heat as a promoter, you gotta use it. If you have a bad guy that's got that kind of nuclear heat, you strap a rocket to his back.
He was super talented.
Oh, he was super talented. Yeah,
like he had charisma. Coming out of every orifice.
Yazoo.
Yeah, but it was interesting that he didn't make much of a wrestling return. He was in Impact a little bit.
Yeah, he was in Impact for a couple turns. Yeah.
But it never really took off, and no. I don't know if he just never connected with anyone, and it was just a problem backstage or not. But
yeah, it was a big he had a really bad reputation in behind the scenes with the boys, and once you get a reputation, it follows you, and and it takes a lot to change that reputation around. So, who is your numero 3?
Shawn Michaels.
I can't wait to hear this.
So his backstage, so first off, he great performer, loaded with charisma.
Yep.
But he would steal money from his grandma if he had to do what he had to do. 'Cause I'm the showstopper. he he started early on with when he broke off from the Rockers.
Yeah.
He was talking in Vince's ear right from that point against his best friend, Marty Jannetty.
Yeah.
And he got Marty Jannetty fired because Shawn Michaels had a bad match and didn't want to take the fall for it.
Yeah.
So he blamed Marty Jannetty. And it was actually Shawn Michaels' fault. And later on, Vince McMahon found out whose fault it really was and rehired Jannetty.
Yeah.
And so this continued on with Shawn Michaels and he had the click and they were really in, but he was the leader.
Yeah.
And so I really put the blame at his feet.
Yeah.
He would stop the runs of our friend of the show, Adam Baum.
Yep.
He would stop the runs. Owen Hart was promised, as we talked about in previous episodes, Owen Hart was promised a good main event kind of spot after Brett left.
Yeah.
And he was in Vince's ear because Owen, and it seemed that way with Brian Clark as well, that he just didn't seem that like that political sort of guy to get in there.
Yeah.
Just really nice, lovable guys that are just, they're not worming their way to the top.
Yeah. No,
so,
I agree with you totally.
So if you're not political, Shawn Michaels is going to stomp you out.
Yeah. He was the master of backstage politics. That is for damn sure. I mean, the reason why I would put him on the list, you were either a Bret Hart fan or you were a Shawn Michaels fan. You couldn't be both. You either liked the showmanship or you liked the technical wrestling. And that for me, it was Bret Hart. So I didn't really like Shawn Michaels.
And he actually tried to halt the Rock's climb at the very start by trying to get Bret to win the Intercontinental title, because that's a twofold plan there. Because now we got Bret out of the main event.
Yep.
And we're stopping the Rock. This is perfect. But Bret was like, no.
Bret did not fall for the evil genius that of Shawn Michaels. Yeah. Now I'll agree. That's a good pick. I would have put him on my top 5 as well, which is weird because I would also consider him on my Mount Rushmore of great wrestlers too, because the
thing about me is my greatest quality is, and it comes naturally, is loyalty.
Yeah.
So if you're against my guys, I'm against you, damn it.
Like I said, I was always a Bret man. I was never a Shawn Michaels guy. So my number 3, this guy was called a lot of things backstage. Bully Ray called him a dick. It is JBL. John JBL was, the guy had atomic heat. Not only did he have atomic heat in the ring, okay, he had it backstage. He was one of the stiffest guys in the ring to begin with. And in fact, Vince, Pat Patterson, Terry Taylor, a lot of your backstage producer guys would put new talent up against JBL to see if they could survive being a wrestler in WWE. That's how stiff he worked. So he was routinely asked by management to, work over and legit shoot on guys. Bully Ray or Bubba Ray talked about getting clocked several times by actual contact by his fists. If you need 2 examples, I got them. Public Enemy, who was coming from ECW into WWE or WWF at the time, thought they were too big for their britches and were complaining that they were going to have to fight against Farouk and JBL. And so JBL and Farouk, mostly JBL, physically assaulted Public Enemy in the ring. They were landing shot after shot. They put him through tables. They beat the shit out of him enough that they left WWE and actually sued. They tried suing JBL and WWE for the ass kicking that they got. The other one was when JBL was going through his cowboy stock trader guy. gimmick that he was using. And at ECW One Night to Remember, Shoot punched the Blue Meanie in the face and cut him open. And I'm like, who hates the Blue Meanie that much that you're going to punch him in the face for real and break his nose and cut him open?
But it was more than just that with the Blue Meanie. It was just this constant berating and
bullying. It was if you really want to see something, One Night Stand is fantastic. And maybe we'll do that for an episode, because as an ECW fanatic, much as I was, it was great seeing ECW talent in a WWE ring really just working together. But yeah, JBL's shot on Blue Meanie, they had to be separated. A lot of it had to do with Blue Meanie may or may not have said something to JBL, and that's what ticked him off. But
I think there was a rib involved too about someone shitting in something or something.
Yeah,
like that.
If it was Blue Meanie, then yeah, most likely it was. As Blue Meanie, that was one of his favorites.
Well, what about Ronaldo, the great commentator?
Yeah.
JBL pretty much bullied him.
Yep.
Out of the WWE, and he was convinced to come back for NXT, but he wasn't happy there. But he would. You bully someone so much, you got him into depression, and he wasn't able to be himself. Like one of the greatest commentators in the world today. And you got this asshole.
Yeah, and JBL is one of the greatest bullies of all time.
Yeah, why are you bullying Ronaldo?
Because he can. That's because he's a dick. Yeah. I mean, that's the only logical reason. You know, I can tell you this. On my personal Twitter account, he has me blocked. He blocked me years ago on when I was doing a promo on the Taz Show podcast, and he blocked me on Twitter.
Wait, you were on the Taz Show podcast?
Yeah.
You think maybe we can get Taz on the show? Like,
I've been trying. I was a regular caller. I called almost every day and talked to Taz about wrestling.
That's cool.
Yeah. So who is your numero dos?
Goldberg. Goldberg. I never liked Goldberg. I didn't get it from the start. It just like kept, you're next. I'm like, this guy doesn't even have any charisma. He just, I didn't like it. He's never had any respect.
Oh yeah, no respect at all
for the wrestling, like the history and everything. He's essentially a football player.
Yeah,
was cut by the BC Lions.
Yeah,
and couldn't make it in the CFL.
Yeah.
But he just would brutalize his opponents like it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And he's injured so many people, including Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yeah.
Ended his career.
Yeah.
Like Bret could have wrestled another 10 years.
Yeah.
But as much as I don't like Bill Goldberg, it's almost not all his fault.
No.
It is WCW's fault for trying to push him too soon and not teaching him the right way.
Yeah.
And if they would have taught him the right way and taught him, like, who knows where he would have been in wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, outside of him injuring Bret, giving him a major concussion, my biggest beef was, when you're talking about the streak of 193 or how many people he beat, he had easy matches with guys who knew how to wrestle and could put him over. And that was the key, was Goldberg wasn't a good wrestler. The guys he wrestled against were amazing wrestlers. Now, if you really want to see how bad Goldberg is, him versus Steven Regal, where Regal kind of didn't want to put him over, so he would shoot on him a couple of times and make Goldberg look silly. But there's a reason why his matches only.
You remember the beef between Jericho and Goldberg backstage.
Yeah.
And Jericho put him in some sort of submission hold.
Yeah.
And you do Goldberg did the one thing you don't do.
Yeah.
You don't talk about someone's dead mother.
Yeah. No, you don't.
Like that. How low can you get? And
Yeah.
and that pissed Jericho off.
Yeah.
I that's so disrespectful.
Yeah, Goldberg was basically like the Monkees. Let's put a band together to imitate the Beatles. Well, let's put together a guy who can imitate Stone Cold Steve Austin, and they had a guy who looked like him.
Well, what I kind of equate him as is you take Ken Shamrock, you take Stone Cold, and then you got the Goldberg look.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, pretty much. So my number 2, man, the internet wrestling community is gonna shit a brick when they hear this one. Ultimate Warrior. There was a love-hate relationship. You either loved the Warrior or you hated him. Those who loved him remember him as this high-energy superhero with his head-banging hair metal hair and face paint. All I saw was this guy who looked like a roided up dude they just found at a Gold's Gym in California, with almost no wrestling ability whatsoever. And I really wasn't that far
But
off.
he's still better than Goldberg.
Yeah, no, he was, but he had the look, and that's what Vince wanted. Vince wanted a certain look, which was a big, huge, hulking guy. And with Hogan coming near the back end of his career, at least his first run in WWE, Vince needed someone to pick up the speed, and he put the package in the Ultimate Warrior's arms and told him to run for the touchdown. And other than that, he was just horrible. His promos made no sense. He would just ramble on and on, much like a lot of the people who cut promos in AFW. That are like 5 or 6 minutes long. He would just ramble on and say the most incoherent things I think I've ever heard him say. There were wrestlers who did not want to wrestle against him because he was so stiff and hard to wrestle in the ring. Rick Rude said the only reason why he agreed to wrestle Ultimate Warrior for the run that they had was because he felt he was one of the only toughest guys in the backstage that could take the punishment that Ultimate Warrior gave to his opponents. Even Bret Hart called him a coward after he refused to meet with a kid who was dying from Make-A-Wish. Bret called him out a coward. Warrior, man, he went on, I don't know what steroids he was using, but he went on some kind of weird tangent. He wanted to be paid the same amount of money, if not more than Hulk Hogan. He wanted to get the same cut of merchandise as Hulk Hogan. He wanted the WWE to buy 1 million copies of his comic book, which he got a cut of, obviously, and held them hostage. And Vince finally said no. And off he went, and he went to WCW, and he went back to WWE, and he burned a lot of bridges. He was not very well liked or well respected in the backstage by the boys. He mended enough bridges to eventually get into the Hall of Fame, but I never understood the love and appeal for Ultimate Warrior.
Just to kind of play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
At the end, he met up with Hulk Hogan, and they kind of had their face to face at the Hall of Fame, and they both apologized, and I like the story Jake the Snake tells where he was ready to pop him when he finally met him, and first thing that Warrior says to him is, "I'm sorry." And like, how do you pop a guy who says sorry? Like, it just disarms you, right? And I really appreciate is when someone can just own their shit.
Yeah.
And just And I like that he didn't go out as a total dick. You know, he died that next day after his
Raw.
home date.
Yeah.
And, it's really a sad story.
Oh, it is. I mean, for me, you know, the problem with Warrior was the same with Goldberg. There was no sense of history. Wrestling wasn't the end game for him. It was comic books and merchandise, and he really didn't care about wrestling. He just wanted to sell merch and just be this transcendent, person and character.
It would have been interesting to see where Ultimate Warrior would have gone had he been humble, and
it would have been interesting to see.
Because like he would have been possibly even bigger than Hogan.
Yeah, he could have been. He had that kind of charisma.
Yeah.
He had the look. If he just was, if he was, you're right. If he was a lot more humble.
I'm wondering if I almost insulted Brian Clark last week when I said you could have been the Ultimate Warrior, and he said, "Well, I've been more agile and blah blah."
Yeah.
Blah. But he had the look of Ultimate Warrior, which was really what Vince would have loved.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Vince loves his big boys. That is for sure. So I have a feeling we might be agreeing on our number one. So I'm going to let you go and do your shoot, and then I'll shoot on them. Who is your numero uno?
Oh, who is it? When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside. Hulk Hogan. It's an interesting one because who didn't love Hulk Hogan as a kid? And I loved Hulk. You didn't?
Oh, I didn't.
You didn't love Hulk Hogan? Yeah, and, I loved Hulk Hogan, and it got me into wrestling. He was larger than life, but it wasn't, and it didn't take too long. As soon as you were able to form a few more brain cells, you could actually, I'm tired of seeing this guy push down my throat.
Yeah.
And then you see the ego of this guy. He's not wanting to pass the torch to Brett. He comes in and takes the title from Yokozuna. Just it's all about me. And he's just like different stories of kids walking up to him like wanting an autograph, and he's like, no, go away. And Jimmy Hart goes, don't be such an asshole. And just different stuff like that.
When I was growing up in the rock,
I'll let you cover the racist bit because
when I was growing up in the rock and roll era of WWE, every single wrestler was over the top, and they should have been, honestly. But the one that ruled the roost was Terry Bollea, otherwise known as Hulk Hogan. He was horrible. I mean, it was take your vitamins and say your prayers, brother. While he was injecting steroids and was cheating on his wife, which didn't make back then, and I didn't know that as a kid, but now being an adult and knowing what it's like to be life on the road. But my problem was the match he had. First time I saw Hulk Hogan was imitated and copied over and over and over again. It was start beating up on the bad guy. Back gets your hand, starts beating on you. You start shaking your arms. You start shaking your head. And then you throw him into the ropes and you hit him with the boot and then you drop the leg. And that was it. And then Hulk posed. And that was how a Hulk Hogan match would always go.
So I recently watched that WrestleMania match where Ultimate Warrior won the title.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that good.
Wasn't. Yeah, it really wasn't that bad, but it wasn't really.
It wasn't that good either. But I was surprised. Hulk Hogan had been in it for a number of years now, and it wasn't that bad. But
well, I mean, for me, he paid his dues, not like Goldberg or Ultimate Warrior. I mean, Hulk, went through AWA. He got into WWE, went back to AWA. went back to WWE. That's when Vince made him Hulk Hogan. That's
But
the thing.
but my issue is more the political game that he played as well. He was Vince McMahon's lapdog. Yeah, he was Vince McMahon's lapdog.
Yeah.
And won't get into any of the weird, crazy stuff.
Oh, yeah. So, for those who don't know, have been living in a cave. Hulk Hogan had a sex tape. He had a friendship with this radio DJ called Bubba the Love Sponge, who's a piece of crap. Do not Bubba the Love Sponge, but
his wife out there for
he had sex with Bubba the Love Sponge's wife. And then, of course, there's a race epitaph where there's audio of Hogan dropping the N-word over and over and over again. And while he's come out and has apologized for being a racist, which, a lot of people seem to have accepted, oh, well, he apologized. We should give him an okay. He apologized because he got caught, not because he said it. That's the difference. If he said it and he came out before the tape came out and said, hey, listen, I used an ugly word and it's not how I truly feel. I was in a moment, whatever the case is. That, that's different for apologizing than saying, oh, you caught me using the N-word. I guess I'm sorry. Because I guarantee you he's used it again well after getting caught,
And just like we found out, it's our running gag, is that he didn't, when Adrian had an issue with not getting paid from WWE for getting his head shaved and the bonus money that Vince McMahon, he didn't stand with his friend. He pretty much sold him down the river and didn't go to his funeral. And I guess he saw it on our show or the tweet. And all of a sudden, weeks later, oh, I missed your brother, Adrian. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah. I've heard he's not very approachable if you're not a kid. I've heard of him being angry at the surf shop and the restaurant that he owns in Tampa. I've heard a lot of skeezy things about him when it comes to coming up to him, asking him for autographs, stuff like that. His autograph price ask is outrageous. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars. For an autograph from Hulk Hogan. I would never pay.
What you need, brother? Why you need more money, brother?
A restaurant, brother. You make NWO money, brother. You don't need to ask $100 for 8x10 autograph. That's for dang sure. All right, so that is our episode. You can go to our website. It's fnwrestling.com. We have social media links on there. You can find our podcast, of course, on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, you name it, it is out there.
We're even on Audible.
Listening. Yeah, we're even on Audible. That's cool that we're on Audible. We have a Pro Wrestling Tees store, prowrestlingtees.com/FNWrestling. And on that note, because of this episode, has Hulk Hogan ever gone back to you?
I'm really surprised that he hasn't blocked me. Like, how am I not blocked? Like, I'm talking shit on this guy week after week. I'm using Adrian Adonis's account to talk shit. But, what am I at, 12?
12.
So Hulk Hogan didn't get back to me. It's Canada Dry, 12.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan, 0. Ding, ding, ding. Canada Dry, out.